Hey, how's everybody doing? This is JJ with Deluxe Vehicle Detailing and Paint Correction here at my home shop, and my home for that matter, in beautiful Seminole, Florida, right between St. Petersburg and Clearwater. Today's topic is so kind of far-reaching because this video could be named many things. I'm not quite sure what this series at this point will be called. Probably something along the lines of reconditioning a auxiliary air compressor tank. I have recently purchased my Makita Mac 5200, which is a 3 horsepower oil run compressor with a 5.2 gallon tank. And I am going to be coming out with an amazing amount of videos on a lot of new products. I just purchased and acquired a $5,600 extractor, which has 2,000 psi and 3 motors on it. I've got 50-foot hoses for everything. I'm going to keep it in the garage. It is the size of a small refrigerator. It weighs, I think, 185 pounds. But I have added to my arsenal the Tornador Black, along with the Velocity vac, which I will be hooking directly to the extractor, not a shop vac. And that led me to thinking, the compressor that I want to get for using the Tornador, which needs a high CFM and consumes a lot of air, is never really going to be too efficient with a 5.2 gallon tank. So I knew right out of the gate, buying it, I was going to want to attach an auxiliary tank, or what is known as air reserve or a surge tank, so that I can have a larger volume of air, so that my 3 horsepower Makita compressor will have, be able to run and not be running all the time off the 5.2 gallons. Because if I'm using the Velocity vac and the Tornador Black, it's just going to consume a lot of air, and so you need a pretty big tank, and you need to keep that CFM up so that you can, that's cubic feet per minute. And at 6.5 at 90 psi, the Makita 5200 is an amazing machine. I've read, countless reviews. I've been wanting to buy one for about 6 months. Finally pulled the trigger, and while I was pulling the trigger, I was like, okay, I'm going to go, since I've never owned a compressor in my life, I'm going to do, total balls to the wall. I went with the Flexilla Pro hose. I'll be showing you that. I went with all Flexilla high flow connectors, swivel connectors, quick disconnects, the guns, all the attachments for the guns, just everything. I decided, I'm just going to reinvest in my business, which has been doing very good. As some of you would know, I am a personal trainer, first and foremost, and have been since I started my business in '97. And thank goodness that I had the detailing business officially up and running about 3 years ago. And anyway, without getting too much into a backstory, I have just decided to really step up my game with the detailing, because being a personal trainer during the pandemic COVID crisis, I don't know when you'll be watching this, but it sucks to be a personal trainer right now. So anyway, without further ado, I went on a quest of, okay, what kind of auxiliary tank am I going to attach to the Makita Mac 5200 to have a larger volume of air? And so let's look at what I found yesterday. And if you're also looking to do this, there's a lot of great videos on YouTube on how to attach a auxiliary tank. I probably watched 30 or 40 videos. I probably saw 25 different ways to do it. So there's no right and wrong, but I am going to go full out with all of the attachments and everything. So let's look at what I found yesterday. Now for the flip side. Not really so much flip side. Okay, before we go over to my recently acquired yesterday tank. I do want to say that I'm going to show you some of my note work. I am a copious note taker, and what all this is unimportant at this moment. But I started looking at how to attach an auxiliary tank to a compressor, which Makita told me is not recommended by the company, and they couldn't give me any advice. My main question was, how big of a tank do I really want to go as an auxiliary tank, with a 3 horsepower, motor pushing all the air? So, and the Makita is called a big bore. It's got a very large cylinder, single cylinder, producing the air pressure. So I went on kind of a quest there with how to do it, watched a lot of videos, found a couple that I liked. And then I went on to, finding an auxiliary tank. And I thought maybe I would just go 10 gallons. Seemed like guys that were trying to push little small compressors with too big of tanks were having problems with the thing. So I found this one. It's called Air Compressor Number 1 Tank Recondition. I'll get you in there, right? So this is my number 1 video that I watched, and this guy attached a 120-gallon tank onto a pipe fitter so he could spin the entire tank. He put gravel in it, pea gravel. He, flushed it. He used TSP to etch all the metal after it was all. He ran it for like 4 hours on this pipe fitter, and he just had this whole long thing. Then he heated it up with a torch and dried it, and then he used a sealant and red oxide rust metal converter. He used an acetone. Really cool video if you want to check that out. The guy, I think it's a half-hour video. Really cool. He used Krylon industrial coatings called welder's primer, and he said it was kind of like Elmer's glue, so he thinned it out with acetone. Got to be really careful with solvents, right? And he primed and painted it, and then he went over the whole pressure checking and everything that you can actually attach a pressure washer to the tank fitting with a quick disconnect, and you can run it up to like 400 pounds. You got your regulator, gauge on your tank, and you can take it up probably double what it's rated for, just to check for any kind of weaknesses, pinholes, anything like that. You fill it with water so it's not going to burst on you, and the whole 9 yards, right? So very in depth. The second video I watched, which is called Hydro Pressure Testing Air Compressor Tank. This guy had a little, simpler method as far as, filling it with water and putting pressure in it and just kind of checking everything. It's pretty safe. Again, with a quick connect on a pressure washer. It's early morning. I've got a client to go meet and look at a Ferrari in a bit here. So this is a little bit impromptu, but I'm in Florida. It's nice and cool out right now. It's September, I think it's like the 22nd or 3rd or something. So yesterday, I forgot one thing. Sorry about that, folks. Yesterday, I started calling around some places, trying to find a tank. I'm going to bring you in here. Well, no, let me get out of the sun here. The morning sun is just starting to come up. So I found a place like this, and if you're looking for an auxiliary tank, you can probably find a similar type business. The phone is just not liking this at all. But, you've probably got, a guy in your town. This guy was in St. Pete, Cliff here, really nice guy. Called him up and said, hey, I'm looking for an auxiliary tank. And he's like, yeah, we just took apart a compressor the other day, and we've got a, what he called a 20-gallon tank, he thought it was. And he said, you can buy it for 20 bucks. I was looking at Campbell Hausfeld auxiliary tanks, vertical, to take up less floor space in my 1.5 car garage that I work out of. And every inch counts. It's tight. If I'm doing paint corrections, I got to take a bunch of stuff kind of out of my garage, give myself some space around the vehicle. And so I'm looking at this tank. I go there, and it's okay. It's rough, right? I mean, it's got all kinds of stuff. There's some bolt right there. Sorry about the sun. You can probably see that a little better. It's rough looking, but it's just a tank. You don't have to get overly concerned. I did see that there is underneath this paint job, there is a label here. I'm going to try to kind of carefully peel this away. I'd like to be able to read this. There's labels all over the place on this. And let me turn this thing around to get it in the morning sun here. I don't know if you can see that too well, but it says Greenway, which I did a quick Google search, and I have a feeling this is probably a very old John Deere compressor tank. And the compressor obviously sat here on I think it's called the T-bar or something like that. But this is a nice thing to have on an auxiliary tank, which most don't come with unless you pay the extra money and have one. This is welded on here quite well, so that your compressor is sitting here on top and running everything, right? So I look at this thing, and the I can't quite see. I'm kind of blinded right now. Let me move over here. But anyway, it's rickety on the handle. The thing looks like it's about ready to break off. And I had this stand in my shed over there. I don't think the backyard's ever been in video before. Sorry if I'm blinding you with the sun there. But I had this, I used the, that was like my grandfather's dolly. And I had this one in the garage, or in the shed also. Great when friends got to move or something like that. It can go stand up and convert. It's got the holes. It's also old and rickety. And I thought, well, maybe I could put that tank on there. The drain is on the bottom, and so that would make, easy access, run a, hose line off that, maybe a braided stainless steel. And anyway, I'm kind of just shooting this video because I want to take you through the process. I'm not going to, put this into the computer. I have a rendering computer for video making. I have hours worth of video with my actual Nikon camera. And those will come out at some point. But so I want to, inspect. I want to pressure check. I want to get this thing as cleaned up as I can, both inside and out. And I will be painting it in my green colors. Kind of take you back here. I am absolutely loving my Gruden's shorts, which I recently purchased and did a 5-part video on, just having a uniform of sorts, right? Flip you back here. And so anyway, the gist of all of this is, if you find a tank, you might call some compressor shops in your area and find yourself a tank. And instead of a brand new auxiliary tank from Campbell Hausfeld is about $500-600, depending on where you look. I found a place called Global Industries, and they really had the best price. Northern Tools. There's a bunch of different places that you can buy an auxiliary tank for your compressor. I looked at it and I'm like, okay, I'm going to spend $500-600. I'm going to have a tank. I spent $20. Now I'm willing to put some work into, making it look nice. It was just going to sit on my garage floor, maybe put a pad under it or something. This thing's not going to be wobbling around or anything, because it's just going to have an airline attached to it off of my Makita. And this will be where my inlet goes here, and I will be able to have a shutoff valve here, and I'll have a shutoff valve on right out of the output of the Makita tank, or actually not even the tank, but I think I'm going to run it from the actual machine itself. I'll have it run in here. I'll have shutoff valves. I'll have quick disconnects here. I'm probably going to run a, maybe a filter. I'm definitely going to have a gauge on this tank. And I'm thinking I'm going to fill up the 5.2 gallon tank, open up the valve, let this fill some. My pressure is going to drop down. I can fill it again. 5.2, 20 gallon. This has, 4 times the amount of air capacity that I would have with a normal tank. So I'll essentially have 5 times total, almost. Let's call it a 5 gallon tank. I'll have 25 gallons of air pressure, air volume, I guess. And that will allow me to run these tools and be efficient and not beat my machine up by constantly running to catch up, because I'm going to have all my reserve air in this not so beautiful but soon to be beautiful 20 gallon tank, if it actually is a 20 gallon tank. I'm not even sure of that yet. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and clean up this stand. I really like how steady this is. I'm probably going to run something that could be easily removed should I want to, not have this, or somehow maybe just take the tank. It doesn't really weigh all that much by itself. And I'm going to get this thing cleaned up inside and out. I don't know restoration-wise just how far I'm going to go. But also, here's a little cool thing, and you're probably wondering, like, what is that green thing sitting over there? Well, check this out. Again, in the sun, this is a lizard cam, right? And what it allows me, you can see it moving a little bit as I hit the button. It has like about a 4-foot wire, and I'm going to, and I've got the flash on here, so I know that I've got a little bit of glare on the screen of the lizard cam. But the gist is, with this, which has LED lights on the bottom, you can actually, maybe I'll turn this around, see what happens there. Whoops. Oh well. I can shade the whole thing. Maybe this will be a little better. I don't think I can turn I can't turn the light specifically off. But you can see it kind of bouncing around as it's hanging. I actually did a piece of tape right here so that I know where the bottom is. And I wanted to check out the condition, or also check my work as I go. And I don't know how well that'll come out, and there's a fail and all that, but that's not the important part. The important part being is I can now view with this camera, and I'll show you. I'll pull this out here. So it's got this long, pretty stiff cord, fits in nicely, right? So I'm putting it up to my face. This is really bad with one hand. Okay, there's some steadiness. So you can see, maybe, that there's my face with this camera, and it is a great inspection tool, right? And just in case you want to purchase one, pick one up. This will probably be a little better here, as I'm not blinding everyone. So there is my teeth, and I'll back away, and there is me. So if you wanted to inspect the inside of your mouth and look at a cavity, just kidding. It's just a cool little tool. I like gadgets and things like that. Here's the lizard cam, right? It's from one of these, I don't know, kind of hokey kind of things, bulbhead.com. So they got all kinds of cool ideas on things. And what it also has is a mirror. There's the mirror. You can see it. There you can see it. That you attach to the end. There is the hook. Sorry for my shoddy camera work as always. And here's one with a magnet. Got that? So that you attach that. Just blew off in the wind. You attach it. This is threaded, so you thread those on, and then if you want to like run it down a line on the hook to look at something, or you want it to stick to the edge of something, it kind of has a wide field of view, so that you can just inspect an engine bay or the inside of a tank, and it's got the lights. Many LEDs go around the edge. I'll kind of take you in on that, and it's got this camera, so it's just a cool thing. Here's my hand, and it goes right up. I can literally put my hand practically on it, and it's just a cool tool. So tricks, tips, things like that, I think are worth a thumb up. My videos are kind of, far-ranging and all over the place, but that's pretty much how I am as well. So I'm going to take you along the way. This is going to be kind of the long overview. Here I am at 22 minutes. I'm sorry if these videos sometimes stretch out, but I've tried to be just a thorough of the all-around background, the overview, the backstory, the whole 9 yards of what I personally am going through. To have what I want, because if you are using like a Tornador or a sandblaster or like whatever you're using, some tools are very high demand on volume of air, and they need a high, like the Tornador really needs, I think, like 6.2, so you need air. And if you're running a small compressor, you're just not going to run the tool very long. You're going to have to sit and wait for it to refill, and you're going to be inefficient. You're going to waste time, and so you're going to lose money, because time is always money. So I'm trying to be, following my own advice here. I can't wait to get this thing underway and then share with you, all of the great features that I'm going to be coming out with. So anyway, I thank you for being with me at this point. I'm going to come back into got the little Florida room going on here, and I'm going to give you the flip side. So I do thank you for being with me. Please comment, please like this video, please share this out to someone that you might know that is thinking about buying a compressor, but they don't know how big to get, because the rule of thumb is buy as big a compressor as you can with your budget. And and that's practical in some ways, but also you want to make sure that you are you have the ability to expand or move that compressor. Should you be in a shop environment, maybe not so important, but in my garage I got to be able to move things around for various different job aspects. So anyway, that's kind of my whole thought. I'm a little bit scattered. I've just had coffee this morning, and I am ready to jump in the shower and get underway with my day, go look at that Ferrari, and see what I have to do with that. So, again, just thanks for being with me. Enjoy making your vehicles beautiful. Hit the notification bell, bing, so you get cool new videos. I've got so many cool products that I have bought in the last just 2-3 weeks, and chemicals and just tools and just all kinds of fittings and attachments and things to make your life easier. So I do appreciate y'all, and until next time, I'll see you on the flip side. This time you actually get a flip side. All right, that's the flip side. Take care.